Magic Emperor, captured 836. Out of nowhere, a squad of black-robed figures zoomed in as if they were running late for a cut-rate happy hour. I'd bet my last coin they were rushing to find the chicken with the green bananas. The intensity was so heavy that even Luo Wang felt a genuine chill crawl down his spine. He couldn't help but shout, "Damn, the Riz is too strong out here. Even the lake is too paralyzed with fear to move." Chuo Fan's eyelids twitched in annoyance, his expression darkening instantly as he radiated a lethal aura. Then, he spun around with predatory grace. The moment he saw 8 radiant stage masters charging toward him, our boy completely lost his patience. "What the hell is wrong with you old timers? Can't a man enjoy the scenery in peace for once?" Whoosh! A razor-sharp gust of wind sliced through the air, instantly tearing through the bodies of those 8 chumps before they could even react. Their eyes glazed over instantly. Those 8 geezers of blood didn't even have time to blink. They were dead. On impact, they dropped like flies, their bodies stiffening mid-air. Absolute bozos. Chuo Fan just stared at the carnage, his face colder than a deep freezer. Absolute zero emotion. Tobo Lionfang and Lioner watched the entire spectacle, their jaws practically hitting the floor. What the hell just happened? Boom. Just then, another deep, soul-crushing rumble shook the very air around them. The lead elder completely lost his cool, face planting hard onto the dirt with his hair a total mess. He finally understood the gravity of the situation. His face went pale, his eyes widened with pure terror, and his lips began to tremble uncontrollably. He stammered, "No way. That's a divine soul tremor. An ethereal stage powerhouse." Toba Lanfeng frowned, his mind racing. Damn it. This kid has evolved into an even scarier monster than before. Completely ignoring the elder's pathetic state, Chuo Fan kept staring at the lake as if the massacre wasn't even his problem. He softly asked Luo Wang, "Now that we were finally not being disturbed, that strange phenomenon should appear any second, right?" "Yet, any minute now," Luo Wang replied with a knowing grin. Suddenly, our MC's eyes locked onto the first signs of the event. Whoosh. After a moment, the once still lake began to ripple violently, especially around the floating white snow lotuses, which started bubbling like crazy. Each time a bubble popped, the lotus directly above it vanished instantly, as if it were being swallowed whole by the depths. Invisible energy waves started radiating outward from the center of the lake. Chuo Fan watched the ripples intently as new blossoms emerged from the depths, breathing the sunlight with a rhythmic dance. 1, 2, 5, 6. Eventually, thousands of delicate, breathtaking flowers appeared, gently floating and twirling across the water's surface in a mesmerizing display. Chuo Fan was momentarily mesmerized, eventually turning back to Luo Wang with a slightly furrowed brow. Luo Wang grinned smugly. "How about that? Is the magic show impressive enough for ya, Steward Chu?" Chuo Fan nodded, his eyebrows still slightly furrowed in thought. 1 or 2 spiritual flowers wouldn't be that weird, it could just be the species. But over 1,000 flowers of all kind growing at the bottom of this lake, all possessing spirits. It's suspicious. What's hiding down there to cause such a phenomenon? Is this a blessed land? With that thought in mind, Chuo Fan turned back to Luo Wang. "Right. You mentioned this phenomenon isn't just about dancing flowers, but something else too. What exactly is it?" Luo Wang smiled mysteriously, glancing at Chuo Fan with a smug look. It's the dead tree, blooming in spring. Something the great steward Chuo probably hasn't seen before." "Dead trees?" Chuo Fan frowned, his eyes clouded with doubt. Luo Wang, sensing his confusion, dragged him over to the crown prince, who had been beaten so badly that even his ancestors wouldn't recognize his face. He pointed at the crown prince and said, "My big bro, here is the base material. But trust me, this dead tree isn't any ordinary piece of wood. Watch closely." Finishing his sentence, Luo Wan grabbed a snow lotus, suddenly waving his hand and shouting, "Show time! Flower fairy!" Whoosh! Suddenly, an explosion echoed, and the quiet lake erupted. A water dragon coiled upwards, shooting toward the floating lotus flowers, snatching them all up before diving back into the lake with a massive splash, spraying countless droplets of water everywhere. And wherever the dragon passed, faint, ethereal golden lights began to shimmer. Under the wash of that golden light, the crown prince, who was already beaten into a pig's head and unable to speak, started recovering with frightening speed. Even his shattered teeth grew back in the mere blink of an eye. Even Taba Lanfin, who wasn't directly hit by the light but only grazed by its aura, felt his injuries completely heal. This sight genuinely surprised Chu Fan. He mumbled, hand on his chin, "Such rapid recovery. It's similar to my heaven dragon's roar, maybe even more potent." So, Zhuo Fan, what do you think? Isn't it absolutely miraculous? The sixth prince raised an eyebrow, grinning with pride. The crown prince abruptly stood up, looking at Zhuo Fan with sheer terror, hastily backing away and not daring to utter another syllable. Zhuo Fan nodded slightly without saying a word. He lifted his foot and moved with blinding speed right beside the crown prince. Damn. He grabbed the guy's head and slammed it face first into a jagged rock, turning it back into a pig's head before casually tossing him aside like trash. The crown prince didn't even have the strength to cry, he only choked on his own blood, his newly grown teeth knocked out for the second time today. He stammered through the pain. Wait. Why? I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. Why it hit me again? The sixth prince looked at Zhuo Fan, completely baffled by the sudden violence. Zhuo Fan shrugged nonchalantly, replying, he was saying nasty things in his head. I just helped him shut up so it'll be quieter around here. Bro, you can actually do that. Is there even a shred of humanity left in you? Or crown prince? Man, Zhuo Fan really just does whatever he wants. The sixth prince muttered, stunned, while the crown prince, with tears streaming down his face, knelt on the ground filled with pure frustration. Seriously, can you just do that? Only Taoba Lionfeng and Lion looked at Zhuo Fan with complicated expressions, not daring to breathe a word of protest. This kid is getting more arrogant and reckless by the minute. The crown prince must have pissed off the heavens in a past life, because he's getting tormented by this demon twice in a row now. And the second time was for absolutely no reason at all. Talk about being unlucky. Even they couldn't help but feel that the crown prince had abysmal luck today, getting blasted back before he could even properly step out the door. Moreover, he was getting a double dose of a beatdown in under 5 minutes. Zhuo Fan ignored their internal monologues, focusing instead on the now calm lake before glancing at the 8 dead radiant stage experts lying nearby. He figured the golden light's primary effect was rapid cellular regeneration, far surpassing most top-tier healing pills. However, it clearly couldn't bring the dead back to life. After all, their primordial spirits had been utterly annihilated. Those guys were deader than dead. So, the next logical step was to find the actual source of those golden lights. With that thought, Zhuo Fan slowly raised his right arm. The red light on it flared brilliantly, radiating a bone-chilling aura. Island arm, activate. Zhuo Fan's pupils contracted into slits, and he swung his arm down with crushing force onto the lake's surface. Boom. It was a swing like the dawn of creation, acting like a colossal sword that split the entire lake in two. The waves churned like crazed beasts, colliding violently with the surrounding swells and rising hundreds of feet high in an instant, revealing every secret hidden at the bottom of the lake. But, Zhuo, what the hell are you doing? The sixth prince shouted, surprised, staring at the giant wave blasted into the sky by that terrifying power before turning back to Zhuo Fan. Puzzle, Zhuo Fan simply sneered, replying with a casual shrug, I just want to see what's actually hiding at the bottom of this lake. The sixth prince couldn't help but sigh helplessly, muttering, there's nothing there, man. Ever since we discovered this phenomenon, my big bro has sent countless people down to investigate, but they really didn't find a single thing. Zhuo Fan curled his lip disdainfully, his eyes still fixed intently on the lake with a look of pure arrogance. Just because those other losers didn't find it doesn't mean it can't. Every anomaly has a cause. There's definitely something strange happening here. His eyes narrowed slightly, as his primordial spirit expanded to cover the entire lake bit, meticulously observing every nook and cranny below, yet still finding nothing out of the ordinary. Could it really be just nothing? But just then, as even he began to doubt his own instincts, a slight sound rang out, an extremely faint spatial ripple suddenly materializing from a corner. Zhuo Fan immediately whipped his head toward that direction, but his naked eyes still couldn't see a thing. Whoosh! The ripple appeared again, and in that instant, he finally understood. His pupils contracted sharply as 6 golden rings flashed brilliantly within his right eye. Divine Eye of the Void, 6th layer activate. Whoosh! A soft thud echoed, like something invisible hitting a solid wall. The corner of Zhuo Fan's mouth curved into a dark, satisfied arc. He pointed toward a specific spot, and an invisible shockwave immediately rippled through the air. Immediately after, an invisible barrier shattered like glass, revealing the truth right in front of him. Hidden within the barrier was a tiny, finger-sized golden creature with a pair of translucent wings constantly flapping, creating that distinct whooshing sound. It clutched those stolen snow lotus flowers, staring at Zhuo Fan with a look of pure terror, its tiny heart pounding with absolute fear.